The penalty that wasn't on Tomori or Kjaer, both of them may well have fouled Lautaro Martinez. I think it's Kjaer that gets the final touch. The referee, Jesus Gil Manzano, signals for the penalty, told to go to VAR, and then subsequently overrules it. What did you make of that?
When I saw it in real time, I thought clear penalty. Credit to Lautaro Martinez, a player who's been in recent positive form, a player who hasn't shown up in the Champions League, showed up the last round, goal and assist in the second leg, and really looked like he did everything but get that all-important goal that he was deserving of in his movement. Tormented the two center backs, ran them ragged. He showed why he is such a dangerous forward without the clinical finishing, but why he's such a dangerous forward to keep tabs of. He just rolls Simon Kjaer like a ragdoll. And Kjaer, he's been good for Milan in the Napoli tie. I thought he was excellent. I thought he was more solid than he has been throughout the season. But the inconsistencies of that back line showed themselves again. And when I saw the VAR replay, if they gave a penalty, it would have been a soft penalty. I thought Lautaro Martinez went down. The contact was there, but he went down. He was trying to sell the penalty kick for the referee. My big question mark, though, is if you rescind that penalty kick, where was the yellow card? That could be a big factor for a player that's very emotional, like Lautaro Martinez, who can give a rash challenge. If he gets a yellow card, which he should have gotten, if that's a dive, then that could play a part in whatever happens in the second leg, and therefore the final as well.
So penalty or no penalty?
For me, or the rest?
Yes, for you. Penalty.
It's no penalty.
No penalty? Nigel?
No penalties. About as emotional as Michael is. Yeah, so no pen, mate.
JJ?
Yeah, no penalty.
I actually think that was a penalty, and I certainly don't think...
Oh, no surprise you did.
I knew that.
I do not think that VAR should be changing that, because there's no obvious reason why. If you've given it, it isn't anymore. Let's be clear.
I would qualify my statement, though, by saying that I'd expect a player of Kjaer's experience to not take so many risks, because I could see why many people would think, that it should have been a penalty. And I think in that respect, he is very lucky.
Very lucky indeed. I think you can't complain if that penalty is given against you if you're Simon Kjaer. And that could have turned the whole tie. It didn't. Rafael Leao, €7 million a season. I mean, it's chump change to the Lionel Messis of the world, but not bad for the rest of us. And I'm told he will renew his contract in the coming days. Gazzetta dello Sport reported, and there you see from Fabrizio Romano, Paolo Maldini's confirmed that it's close to an agreement. The same plan with Rafael Leao. They want to continue together. Gazzetta dello Sport puts that at €7 million a year until 2028. Nigel Reo-Coker, what a way it would be to mark that new contract with a goal next week. Any chance he can turn the tide?
There's always a chance with him playing. But again, I'll just say for me, when you look at the performance you saw today, and then obviously it's going to be reversal on the second leg of Inter being the ones with all their fans in there and AC being the visiting fans, that all's going to play a part. I think for me, again, with Inter Milan, they are just so well organized defensively. They remind me of very similarities to Jose Mourinho's Inter Milan, how hard they are to beat defensively, how well organized they are. They bring the dark arts of football, all the little things that you see. They've got that in the bag. And what I was very impressed with in watching that game as well, James, is we talk about, you spoke about with JJ, fullbacks not being able to defend. That's what we see in the modern game now. A lot of these fullbacks from young ages are coached to be more of an attacking influence and extra option getting forward than doing the foundation of defending. Inter Milan do it so well, and what gives them the advantage also over AC is the communication. If you watch the game from a different kind of perspective, when players are running into zones, there's such great communication between that back line, who goes to close him down, who picks him up, who covers. There isn't a worry of, oh, this is my man, I've got to sit there. So it really is defending at the highest level. I can't see Rafael Leao really being able to do much more than we saw from this AC Milan team today.
Yeah, I think I can. And we talked about Teo Hernandez, and I agree with you, Nige, of how good defensively Inter's been. And I think it's also down to the credit of that midfield three. They cover so much ground. Look at how much space that Henrik Mkhitaryan and Nicolo Barella, they'd get in the box and get back to make tackles as well. As a back three, as an outside back, it gives you freedom to get forward as an outside defender, but also gives you that certainty that you're going to get that back pressing from your midfield three that you need at the highest level. For AC Milan, Teo Hernandez was ineffective for large parts of this game because he didn't have the player that he's used to in front of him. When Divock Origi, who you mentioned, James, as your anytime goal scorer off the bench,
Milan's man of the match, I'd say.
When he came in, he was instantly dangerous because he injected pace. Inter were kind of scrambling a bit. That sense of pace on the flank, that could trouble Inter Milan, and it has troubled them in this competition before. I do think, Nige, overall, I picked them in the preview, and I picked them again still to qualify. I think Inter will have too much in the end. This first leg dug AC Milan a hole that they won't be able to get out of.
Mike, is it outside backs or is it outside backs? God bless you, Yanks.
What's an outside back?
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't ask him, James. He's very American. Outside
you
back.
know
Same
what
left back,
is,
right back, full
Isn't
back.
they the ones that do the tackles in the NFL?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, this is
God bless these
producer
Yanks,
Des. I'm not even going to say a cuss word. I was about to.
You know what? I'm going to have to. I'll try and build on what Mike was saying, and I think I don't think it's impossible for Milan to get themselves back in it, but they need a goal, and they need a goal very early in that second leg. That can change a lot. I think as well, what happens with Benassa, how serious that injury, is also going to be influential. I think maybe moving Calabria into a more central role, if they do play a back three, and having somebody out wide on the right, could give them a bit of a boost as well, because that way you free up Hernandez on the left as well. I mean, Origi, I feel like he thrives in those kind of chaos scenarios where the team is desperate for a goal. You throw him on. He happens to just do the unthinkable, and then suddenly the team believes again, and they go on and score a few more goals. So, maybe looking to throw him on a bit earlier in the game again next time in the second leg. If Milan already have a goal to their name, that could potentially be part of Pioli's master plan as well. But so much of it, I feel, does now lie with Leao, because he gives them that directness, that pace, that can instantly open up a team. And it does look like it's going to be a tall order to really break down that Inter defense. But if anyone's going to be able to sort of inject that kind of threat, and really sweat them in that second leg, it feels like it's going to have to be someone like Leao, because watching Giroud toil the way that he did, it really feels like it would be quite futile if Milan are lining up the same way again next week.
JJ, I see your well-articulated French opinion. I see and I jump in. Rafael Leao, if he does start, we know what he can do. So tactics-wise, if you're Inter Milan, you just sit deep. You sit deep, be defensively well-structured, and say, break us down. Then with AC Milan's lack of patience, and again, with the naivety and the young side that they have, they'll try so much and they'll leave themselves vulnerable. Remember, Lukaku could start the second leg maybe. That leaves it open for Lukaku to do just what Rafael Leao can do for AC Milan, but for Inter Milan, which I think is what Inter Milan will do. They will sit if Rafael Leao starts, and they're comfortable to sit in a deep defensive position and say, we're going to hit you on a counter-attack. And AC Milan are still vulnerable on the counter-attack. So that's why I feel that there isn't really too much. But if they can get an early goal, AC Milan, they got half a chance.